Here comes the challenge. He's running.
We're on air. No, we're on air.
Sorry, get a mess.
Sorry. Here. Sorry. Good morning, Austin, and welcome to the Atheist Experience. My name is Ray Blevins. This is my co-host, Joe Zamecki, and my second co-host, Don Rhoades. This is May 3rd. We are live. We'll be taking your calls here for the next hour. We're going to be discussing atheist and atheist issues here. And like I say, this is brought to you by the Atheist Community of Austin. So first off, let me get a few announcements out of the way here for the Atheist Community of Austin. Election will be held today at the Hot Jumble Bakery at 307 West 5th. So any members that haven't renewed your membership, it's also due at this time. But we're going to be voting in person. So if you want your vote to count, come on down and vote in person. We're in the process of getting the numbers back up there. Our numbers have disappeared. The other announcement coming down the line here is our next blood drive will be held 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, June 20th. And that's at Central Texas Regional Blood Center there, 4300 North Lamar. If there's more than one spot in there, but that's the easiest one to get to, isn't it?
Well, that's the one we always go to.
You're right. And
there's probably a couple more. But
even if you're not a part of Atheist Community of Austin, if you're an atheist and you're out there and you run into problems, we want you to know you got people you can count on. You can call it, the Atheist Community of Austin, and if we got enough blood on hand, we'll share our blood with any atheist out there. Don't you think, Don?
Sure.
Yes. Don's our co-chairperson, so I have the chairperson's approval there. Our lecture series went great last Sunday. We had, a lot of fun. Yes, excellent time. The next one will be the Sunday the 31st. I was looking to see what the date was. North Cross Mall, First Cafeteria, North Cross Mall. And we have a question and answer series, question afterwards. It's free admission. It's open to the public. We love seeing the new faces. Our weekly meetings are held every Sunday. Like I was saying, today's going to be our election. Hot Jumble Bakery, West 5th. Well, as soon as we're done here, we head right down there. Yep. We have a happy hour, third Friday of the month, which will be 3 weeks away here, so we still got time there. We're also having our movie night on Monday night. Alamo Draft House. It's only $1 to get in. And just to remind everybody in our group, if you have your Randall's card, please use it. We get 1% of that, of all your purchases out there at Randall's. And that's really nice of Randall's. They'll do that for any nonprofit organization out there. So if there's any others out there that didn't know about it, contact Randall's. We're really happy that they're working with us on that. Okay, let's go on down the line. Joe, did you have any announcements or comments you'd like to make?
Let's see, right off the bat, not really, but I do have my Atheist Unsung Hero of the Week.
Well, we usually save that for later, but
right.
Okay.
That's about all I got right now.
Okay, Don?
Well, I wanted to share something from our newsletter, the Atheist. The opening article is about the so-called Religious Freedom Amendment. And I would like to quote from this. The Religious Freedom Amendment would seriously compromise the intent of the First Amendment by giving free rein to the Free Exercise Clause at the expense of the Establishment Clause. It would end the protection of religious minorities by allowing one group to overwhelm all others by sheer numbers. As it is, the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment protects our kids from sectarian indoctrination. The RFA, however, would allow religious groups to interfere with the educational process to the detriment of our liberty and safety. Religious schools would be eligible to receive tax money without having to meet state requirements for teacher certification, class size and non-discrimination.
We're definitely against the Religious Freedom Amendment. And from my research, which hasn't been much on American history, they discussed the point of whether or not to have God in the Constitution quite a bit, and decided 200 years ago there was no need for God in the Constitution, and we don't feel there's any need today. Agree?
Absolutely. And the important thing is we have a 200-year history of religious freedom, and we like that. It works out good for religious people, works out good for non-religious people. Let's not throw it away.
Excellent. Well, one thing we'd like to hear from everyone out there, that's our number. This is May 3rd. We're live. If it's May 3rd and you're watching it, feel free to call in. We'd love to hear from the atheists out there that never been to any of our meetings or met in our groups. We're always looking forward to meeting new atheists. But we also love to hear from the Christians or theocratic right or any religious people out there. And we'll go back to our lecture series. Last Sunday we was talking about all the fallacies involved in the Noah's Ark story, and it's just amazing all the different things that you can think of to dispute that point. So if there's any Christians out there, we'd love to hear your viewpoints on what parts of the Bible you consider fact and which parts you consider fiction. We'd love to hear from anybody out there that actually believed Noah's Ark story. That if you believe the Bible is 100% true from front to cover, we'd love to hear from you, so you can explain to us how you got the 100,000 species of frogs or whatever else. Just the beetles. Excuse me. There's 100,000 different species of beetles out there in the world, and somehow Noah went out and found a pair of 100,000. And
what was that quote that Steve had? I forget the name of the biologist. But somebody asked this biologist, what have you learned about the mind of God by studying biology? And he said, only, ma'am, that he has an inordinate fondness for beetles.
Yes. I can't remember who the quote was, but yes, that was beautiful. It was, and then the idea of getting all of the marine life onto the boat, because supposedly everything else that wasn't on the boat was destroyed. Even all the fishes in the ocean and everything else. So, and he was talking about the blue whale was, just getting one blue whale on this ark that was as big as a blue whale. The scientific logic involved in getting all the food necessary to take care of all these animals and everything else. So that was just one possible idea of a topic to throw out there to any of our viewers and listeners out there who wanted to. But we're open to talk about any religious points out there that you want to talk about. Give me a chance here to say hi to a couple there's supposed to be new viewers out there. Sandy and Brad, friends of mine, they're supposed to be watching. They hadn't watched the show yet, so I told them I'd say hi to them. So do call in. There was something else I had on my mind, but we can...
While you're thinking of that, let me just remind people that our voicemail number is 371-2911. If you're watching us for the first time and you're one of us and you haven't connected up with an atheist group, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Even if you...
Hello.
He's calling in now.
Yes.
We got a website also.
Right?
Yeah.
www.atheist-community.org.
Yes.
Check it out.
Excellent webpage. Kellen Von Hauser does a great job on that. While we're waiting, giving our callers a chance, there we go.
There's our website.
Yes,
right.
That's the website address there. And why don't you go ahead with our unsung hero?
Sure.
Maybe
okay.
Bring up some points here.
Lucy Colman.
Yes.
Lucy Colman is this week's pick. My pick for Atheist Unsung Hero of the Week. Lucy Colman lived from 1817 to 1906. She led a fascinating life. She married at 18 and was a widow at 24. She married again, and her only child, Gertrude, was born in 1845. Her husband was killed in a work-related accident in 1852, and then Lucy turned to teaching. She first taught at the Colored School in Rochester, New York later on, but so hated the discrimination and segregation it represented that she convinced the parents of those students to enroll their children in their own district schools. Within a year, the school closed, leaving Lucy without a job. Knowing Lucy's views, Susan B. Anthony asked her to speak against corporal punishment at the state teachers' convention. When the teachers asked, "If we do away with corporal punishment, what will you do with the words of Solomon, spare the rod and spoil the child?" Lucy replied that civilization had outgrown Solomon, and when the cries of infidel began, she said, "If your Bible is a bundle of rods or a license for adultery, the loss of it will be a blessing." Her punishment was to be given the worst school in the district, but Lucy refused to use the standard whips and had no trouble. She left teaching to speak as an abolitionist, leaving Gertrude with her aunt. Her experiences with clergymen were amusing in that Lucy always bested them. In 1862, Gertrude entered college, but became ill and was dead 3 weeks later. Lucy was crushed, but her friends reined her interest in living by telling her of the horrible treatment of children at the National Colored Orphan Asylum in Washington, D.C. Lucy went there and found lice and filth and children dying of hunger. She took over and saved as children she could, and went on to become superintendent of the district schools. She also worked in Freedman's Village, teaching health care, and worked in the local hospitals. She worked extensively for women's rights, and she was chair of the Radical Club, and wrote for the Truth Seeker, Boston Investigator, and other freethought papers. Now we have a quote here also. This is Lucy Colman. Quote, "A religion that has a personal God outside of humanity to worship and to please is quite apt to get appointed an official to regulate the people, and particularly to execute punishment adequate to the offense committed against an infinite ruler of the universe. Humanity so likes authority, it seems sometimes as if it gloated upon the sufferings of its fellows." Unquote. That's Lucy Colman, my
Excellent.
pick for
Yes.
Atheist Unsung Hero or Heroine of the Week.
And this is last century, and we try to point out that there was atheists through history, and they're just not mentioned well at all. And yet, another point.
And a lot of great women atheists too.
Yes. We did get a caller during that, and let's see if we can get him. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Greg?
Hi. I was reading about a month ago, I guess, I saw in the back of the paper a survey, something about the Academy of American Academy of Science making a statement strongly recommending the teaching of evolutionary theory in school. I mean, I guess, it's only about time, but I really don't see if any school boards or anything will be jumping on that with some of these fundamentalists out there. I think they would be much too afraid to. I haven't heard of anything that anybody's going to actually.
My own personal beliefs, I'm more of a libertarian. I believe in the privatization of the school system. I don't think the government should be in this business of school myself. Now the schools are now bringing in sponsorships, the Cokes and Dr. Pepper and all this other stuff, and that just blows me away that they're that willing to bring in corporate sponsors, but they're scared to death to bring in a science book that has anything to do with evolution. And I think that's a sad statement on our time, and I feel privatization would definitely increase the level of education that the kids are getting and everything else. That's my own personal belief. How about you, Don?
Well, I'm not a libertarian, but I do believe that I think private schools are fine for people that want to do that. I believe in a public school system. My great grandfather was a pioneer in Kansas in the second half of the last century, and he was an atheist, and he participated in setting up school districts. I mean, that was one thing that people were doing as they came into a new area, and once they found there were 2 or 3 families, then that was one thing that they wanted to do was get together and build a schoolhouse, pool their resources, and hire a school teacher. The issue now with evolution is a tricky one because the religious organizations have really beat the drum about this a lot. That evolution is a threat to their belief system, which I personally I don't see how it is.
Well, I think it definitely is a threat because they're trying to teach superstition, and if you're going to keep the facts and the truth from people, that's the only way you can keep people learning. I mean, keep them in a superstitious frame of mind, right?
Well, I understand what you're saying, Craig, but when the Catholic Church had the dispute with Galileo, I think that was their point, that you're threatening our belief system, but the church survived.
Well, yeah, but I saw a survey result in Parade magazine where 27% of American adults still believe that the sun revolves around the earth. Now, maybe that's why it's surviving, because we still are very superstitious and ignorant people. And as long as we deny the basic biological truths to our children, we're always going to be that way.
And unfortunately, what is the theocratic right is so well organized and so vocal that they're afraid to offend anybody in that group. Atheists, for the longest time, have sat back in the background and not been organized. That's why part of the reason for this group is to get ourselves organized, get ourselves politically active, so that our representatives and our local and school boards and everybody else will know that we want our kids to get the best education out there, and with the latest, best theories that are out there and everything else.
Well, I agree with you totally, but I think you're going down the wrong path. You start teaching them the values of Dr. Pepper and Coca-Cola.
I agree totally, and I'm amazed that one got through, and the schools are lining up now to take competitive bids. The article I read, they're going to be taking competitive bids from different sponsors and everything else, and the kid that got suspended for wearing a T-shirt, is that what you're going to say?
Yes, they were having a big Coca-Cola day at their school, right, which is their sponsor for their school.
Right.
Had some executives come in from Coca-Cola and a big campaign, and one kid was defiant, and he wore his T-shirt that said Pepsi across the front, and he was suspended.
Yes.
Amazing.
Can I ask you one more thing? Get your thoughts about what do you think about the so-called religious revival in America now? That they're talking about more and more people are turning to religion, and I saw last week in the paper the big increase in Catholic population in Austin on their 50th anniversary and all this. What do you think is going on here?
I think a lot of it has to do with the millennium coming up. People are scared that this could possibly be the end times, and they want to check out with a good conscience, I guess.
Trying to buy their ticket to heaven?
It comes and goes in waves. There was go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say Revelation. Yeah, the whole New Testament at the end anyway is just it's fuel for a whole lot of thinking, millennialist thinking. A lot of people are really expecting something to happen, and spiritualism is the new fad, I guess, in America, and people are trying to get their religion without all these terrible dogmas and the bad history and the baggage, with their millennialism. And when that year comes, boy, who knows, but the Bible may be completely proven wrong when the earth is still there and everybody wakes up the next day and we're all okay. So
well, I appreciate your call this morning. You're a very, very intelligent caller.
Well, thanks a lot. Keep up the good work.
All right.
You have a good day. Okay, we have another caller there. Tony?
How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
I think it was Nietzsche that said if there was no God, man would have to invent one.
Excellent, yes. I've heard that quote, yes.
But I think this resurgence in spirituality y'all were just talking about, man, he has this fear of the unknown. And I think a lot of our prejudices in society, be it racial, people's sexual orientation, male, female, a lot of it's got to do with we don't take the time to find out about what we don't know. We'd rather just go ahead and be afraid of it and hate it. It's much easier that way. I'm from the South.
Right.
I have relatives that are in the KKK.
That's pretty wild.
I'm not like that. You know what I'm saying? But I can see where their prejudices lie, and it's from their fear. They're afraid of what they don't understand.
Ignorance and fear.
And from what I don't know the Klan well, but from what I understand, they use the Bible to support a lot of their positions.
They do.
Too, don't they?
The old Southern Bible. Okay,
I didn't know that's a new classification I've never heard of. The old Southern Bible.
They cut out a book, the Book of Cletus.
It told you that you were supposed to treat your slaves well, not that owning another person was bad. That you were supposed to treat them well. You know, and it's funny. Abraham. You know, my favorite founding father in this country is Thomas Paine.
Good one.
He is the only one that never owned a slave. He is the only one of our founding fathers that ever wrote that black people and white people would be equal in society, and I include Abraham Lincoln in that. Abraham Lincoln wrote by his very hand that it was not his intention for the black man to ever equal the white man in society. And I don't think most people understand that today. You know what I'm saying? That throughout history, we just played lip service to this egalitarian society, and we need to get on a stick and start. Once you come to the realization that we are alone in this universe, now I'm gonna bring up Stephen Hawking. Good. Stephen Hawking never went so far as to say that there was a God or there wasn't a God. He left the question open, but he did go so far as to state that we do not live in a static universe. The universe is constantly moving, it's constantly changing. There is no point at which this universe was created. If there is no point at which there was a creation, how can there be a creator?
That's one theory and one philosophy that if the Big Bang, it seems like there would be a start if you believe in the Big Bang.
Well, the Big Bang has practically been, it's been disproven. There was no Big Bang.
Oh, well.
I don't think that's true, but I think it's still a widely held theory of how the universe got to look like it is. But even if there was a Big Bang that we can look back towards, there was something going on before that.
Exactly. Something has always been going on. Mm-hmm. There is no point at which everything was created.
And I want to back up just a little bit and just give you a little amen about Tom Paine. He's
so to speak. He's my hero.
He was not an atheist. He was a deist.
Exactly.
But we have adopted him because he was rational and
he was a thinker.
That's
exactly.
right. And George Washington heaped praise on him because of the timing of his writings were instrumental in the success of the American Revolution, and he was not a Christian.
And he helped inspire the French Revolution.
Yes.
And wound up almost going to the guillotine from the very revolution he inspired. He had to write Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Benjamin Franklin to get him out of prison in France.
So, do you consider yourself an atheist?
It's hard for me to say that there is nothing out. To me, the totality of the universe is God. Everything out there is God. Now, is an amoeba aware that it's an amoeba, part of a bigger organism? Right. You know what I'm saying? And and I'm a great fan of Ayn Rand and Leonard Peikoff, objectivity. I don't think that there is a conscious entity in this universe that directs our destiny. You see what I'm saying? I don't believe in predetermination.
And Ayn Rand, by the way, is one of us.
Yes, thank you.
Very clearly.
Thank you very much.
One of us.
Yes.
So as far as the Jehovah God goes, yes, I'm an atheist.
Okay.
I think that each one of us, we're not gods, but we're human beings, and we're conscious. We're conscious of the fact that we are human beings.
Right.
A dog is not conscious of the fact that it's a dog.
Let me ask you something, Tony. How do you feel about the Religious Freedom Amendment?
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. The Istook Amendment. Please educate yourself on that because your representatives and the Senate are going to be voting on that in May here.
We got a copy of it, right?
It's a real short one here. Allow us to read this to you, Tony.
Educate me, please.
This is introduced by Representative Ernest Istook of Oklahoma. And as soon as I get this.
Okay.
And it's H.R. Resolution 78, the Religious Freedom Amendment reads, quote, "To secure the people's right to acknowledge God according to the dictates of conscience, neither the United States nor any state shall establish any official religion, but the people's right to pray and to recognize their religious beliefs, heritage, or traditions on public property, including schools, shall not be infringed. Neither the United States nor any state shall require any person to join in prayer or other religious activity, prescribe school prayers, discriminate against religion, or deny equal access to a benefit on account of religion.
It sounds simple enough there, but our strongest thing, like I said,
though.
It's a mess.
What'd you say, Tony? I'm sorry.
It's the lawyer ease they're using, though.
No, that part, no, because I've seen a lot worse about lower ease than that. It's pretty straightforward on that. Our biggest thing is we don't like having God on our money. We don't have God in the Constitution. There is no reason whatsoever for any amendment whatsoever to stick the word God in it.
I agree. I agree completely. The country, one of the founding principles was separation of church and state.
Exactly.
We didn't have and God would trust on our money until the 30s.
Well, no, in the 50s.
That was the paper currency, and it was 1862.
Right. The 30s was when we went off the gold standard.
Right.
Yep.
Have you seen? Did you go to the Laser Light show last night?
No,
They
was it good?
synchronized the Wizard of Oz to the Dark Side of the Moon and all that. Do you know where the movie The Wizard of Oz came from?
No.
It's an analogy to falling off the gold standard and the setting up of the Federal Reserve Corporation. The man
I've heard 20 different analogies.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Okay.
Follow the yellow brick road. Now, come on, how much? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I appreciate that.
Next time you watch that movie, think about that.
I've seen it a bunch of times, and I get it's been. There's so many different analogies. That's the newest one I've heard on that one. I wasn't laughing at you. It was just funny. All the different.
Exactly.
I just remember that when I was a little kid, the monkeys were real scary.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
yes, they
scary.
were, weren't they?
But as an adult, seeing that, you know what I'm saying, and have reading about the populist movement and the getting away from the gold standard, it all makes sense. And that was the first movie ever in color. Did you know that?
Yeah, exactly. Another thing I was going to point out to you was at the same time they were putting God on our money, they actually put God into the Pledge of Allegiance at that same time. One nation under God was not part of the Pledge of Allegiance until the 50s.
Well, to me, the idea of one nation, that's what Hitler said, man. Yeah. One nation, We are a nation of individuals that come together to make up the country. We are not a country that is broken down into individuals. Just like a pyramid, you don't build it from the top up, the top down. You build it from the bottom up.
Right.
If we didn't have each individual, we wouldn't have the community. I don't think that the community exists outside the individual.
Well, we do appreciate your call.
Thanks.
Thank you for letting me call.
You have a good day.
All right, y'all too.
Okay, and like I say, special hello to any of the atheists there in Austin who's never called in there. We'd love to hear from you. We've been talking a lot about the RFA Religious Freedom Amendment because the Senate is now in the process of debating that.
Well, I think it's the House.
It's in the House.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought the Senate is still in the House. I'm sorry.
It hasn't been voted on yet.
So I've been corrected there. And it's still in the House. So let your representatives and I'm trying to think who our representative from this area would be.
Well, we can't really say his name anyway.
You're not allowed to?
Well, I mean,
well, that would be a call to action.
But,
yeah, that would definitely be a call to action if I told you to call him.
But it's good enough to say that all non-Christians in the United States, and even some Christians, should be very concerned about the Religious Freedom Amendment. I mean, I just read it, and as short as it is, it's a mess.
Well, or the Muslims or anybody, whose God are they talking about?
That's right. It's really kind of neat to see even Christians lining up in favor of religious freedom. Baptists have a great history. I mean, I guess at one point in history, they underwent persecution, so they understand what can happen when the majority thinks everybody ought to be the same religion. Mm-hmm. So a lot of their groups line up on the side of the wall of separation. The Jewish groups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point.
When I was in high school, it was of course after the Supreme Court decision saying that you shouldn't have organized prayer in school. They still did it, mm-hmm. And the prayers always ended, with a Jesus in His name kind of thing.
Christian.
And I'm sure there probably weren't very many Jewish people at our school, but that's not right. Yeah. And I was an atheist, and it offended me.
Yeah, I would say this amendment is really bad because it's self-contradictory. It's beautiful for prayer in school advocates, public school prayer advocates, but for people who are not Christians, this is a threat, because this will potentially allow all kinds of religious activities, and we know that a lot of religious activities are hindrances on education, and a school is not the place for prayer in the first place. We all know that you can pray to yourself quietly anywhere in the world without having a problem. There isn't a law against it, and there shouldn't be. So there isn't a need for a law like this. It's just not there. I mean, there are entire public school districts which, like you said, did not ever stop the organized prayer after 1963. And I heard about some in Tennessee and Alabama that completely ignored it, and to this day still have organized prayers even over their intercoms.
Yep.
So that's religious freedom. If you want it, it's there. I mean, you can go to those schools and find it. So this isn't necessary. And
if anybody wanted to open up a church, this country is quite free. They'll give you a tax-free land to do it with. So we don't feel that this any way restricting any religious activity whatsoever by not having this amendment in there. You guys and women and the church and everything have the power to do what you feel your conscience needs to do, but we just want to keep you separate from church and state. We want to keep those things two separate entities. They belong definitely separate.
And really, even the strongest, it needs to be said about schools, the government and the schools, but especially the schools, because it's just not fair. If you're Christian, how would you feel if I went and tried to sell atheism to your little kid? Would you be offended? I suspect so. Well, I have a child in public schools. I want the same right. I don't want her sold religion. To keep it out. Keep it out. That's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And in the amendment, it talks about no one will be forced to participate.
All right.
Their idea in the discussions that they're having as they mull over how they're going to vote on this is that, well, you can get up and leave. That means that if you go to a graduation ceremony or a football game and they have a prayer over the public address system, you can get up and leave if you don't like it.
Yes.
My little girl is going to be expected to, if she doesn't want to participate in these prayers, she's going to be expected to go stand in the hall. That's wrong.
So that camera's out of focus there. Okay. Sorry to interrupt. No, you brought up an excellent point there. They'll be ostracized by the fact that there'd be the one or two students that are brave enough to get up and stand up for their rights will then be made up fun by the other kids. Like, your daddy believes in, as a Satanist or whatever else. Kids are really rough at that age.
Kids can be very cruel.
Yes, and not realize it.
That's right.
Elementary schools.
And our beliefs are, we'll deal with them in our home, and folks can deal with them in their churches, and the schools are not the place.
So I do want to remind everybody this is live May 3rd. We're on every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We love hearing from everyone in the community. We'd love to hear from any of the religious people that actually believe the Bible is factual from front to cover. We'd love to hear that, especially after the discussion. We had a wonderful lecture series about all the fallacies of Noah's Ark, and we could go on to all the fallacies involved in creationism and in general there. But we'd love to hear from somebody that actually believed the Bible from front to cover, because we'd like to hear how, or from any religious people there that can actually divide the Bible from fact to fiction. I'd like to find out where the dividing line is between fact and fiction.
Exactly.
That's a fairly large challenge.
Yeah, that's quite a challenge.
But
a tall order.
That would make for interesting discussion, I like to think. We do have some callers coming in here. Mark, coming over the speakers. Sure.
Go for it, Arlo.
Oh, yeah. I had a really interesting. I heard a quote about God earlier.
Excellent.
I have a quote right here from Mark Twain. You might find it interesting. God created man in his image, and man returned the compliment.
I love that. Yes,
Beautiful.
thank you. Yes. That was our sound technician there, Arlo. And
Feel free to drop in some sound bites too.
yes.
Yeah.
It's
Like that Simpsons, Chief Wiggum. I like that.
Yeah.
Chief Wiggum. Good. I'm sorry.
No, he's gonna do it. But I forgot what I was getting ready to say something else.
It's also illegal to put squirrels down your pants for the purposes of gambling.
All right, you guys, knock it off.
That was there's just a little bit of humor there. And, Arlo wrote the theme music for our show there. And,
Alrighty.
we do have a lot of talent in our group, and it's not an all-male group. We do have women in the group. We like to show the talent of the group and all the different people in our group. And we see callers calling in here. And,
Take call.
and I don't know what.
I think
And
it's
my
holding.
floor manager is writing me stuff at the same time here. But
We're live. That's the number, 472-2255. Go for it.
good morning, David.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Real well.
Good.
Yeah, I kind of had a question for you.
Sure.
'Cause I'm not really an atheist or nothing, but, I don't know. Do y'all believe in human rights?
Human rights.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Yes.
Do we ever? Yes. Yes, we do. Of course we do.
Okay. Well, I had another question. Let's just say, hypothetical, that
Thank you.
that I was an atheist, and I had the option to, take advantage of somebody and kind of, mess them around a little bit, screw them over, steal something from them.
Right.
And I really didn't think I was going to get caught. Should I go ahead and do it?
You could use religion. That works.
It
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I'm serious. So,
No,
Well, we are too. Hey.
no, it my own personal beliefs in that or whatever else. I look at it as I don't want to preach the golden rule, but do unto others as you'd have done. So
That's a pretty good
It's a darn good rule.
because the Bible circumvents it there or whatever.
Well,
else.
what's not original to the Bible, though?
Yeah,
It's
okay.
definitely not
Bible
original
is
to religion at all.
But
Matter of fact, if you start thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
like, if I'm dealing with Joe and I really decide that I want to give him a fair shake, we're going to come up with that. We're going to, that's naturally going to come out of it. That if I want him to do me right, I need to do him right.
but if I don't believe in anything after life, and I guess y'all don't,
No.
okay, then obviously there's no type of moral judgment going to be imposed on me based on my actions here and how I treat you.
Here, yes.
Then
yeah,
So
your
you believe
day-to-day life, you'll get the
Yeah.
repercussions
Beyond-
and consequences of your
Yeah,
actions.
beyond death you
today.
don't, but right here and
if
now.
you mess
is
around
the point.
enough people, you'll find somebody's going to get you back. Is that kind of what you
No,
believe?
what I'm saying is, if you steal and you get caught, you're going to go to jail or fined or
But if
probation or
I'm
something.
sure I'm not going to get caught,
then
should I go ahead and do it?
You're absolutely right. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Right.
My own personal thing is that I would not want people to steal from me, and I want to be the best human being, the best citizen in Austin that I can be, and I want to contribute and make the human race a better for each generation going on. So, I look at it that way. So me stealing, that candy bar and not being caught, you're right. What effect's that going to have on the grand scheme of things?
Well, yeah, I think you hit it on the head right there.
What kind of a person do you want to be?
Well, see, I think you're a little inconsistent with atheist belief there, because I think you're concerned beyond yourself. And I believe to be an atheist is to say there's nothing more than me as far as I'm concerned.
There's millions of
anything
people.
that
My
improves
goodness.
me.
There's millions of people.
Can I jump in?
Chime in, Kellen.
Yeah, but I don't think
Our producer?
I don't
Hold
think
on.
you
This is
have any
Kellen Von
concern
Hauser, our
with it.
producer. Go ahead, Kellen.
Oh, can a psych major jump in here? First of all, atheists don't believe just in themselves. They believe in reality and, the world around us. And humans are very social creatures. And psychologists have done a lot of work in what makes humans behave the way they do. And there's a philosophy called reciprocity. And the way you treat people determines the way people treat you. And if you steal and lie, humans live in a community, and people are not going to trust you. They're not going to do business with you. they're not going to interact with you if you don't behave honorably. So there are repercussions, and it's even seen in ape societies.
So it's still a selfish motive.
It's not a selfish motive.
Well, sure, you're saying you'll have a better life here on Earth if you actually treat people good, because they'll treat you good.
I think it goes, my mother used to say, when you want to know what's right or wrong, just think there's 5 billion people on this planet. What kind of world do you want to live in? If they all acted that way, what kind of world would we live in?
Very good.
But I think if we go around, do y'all believe in evolution, or how do y'all think we got here?
Well,
evolution.
Biological evolution is something we know about. We can't, we don't have to just believe it. We know it's true because of the proof. But yeah.
I don't know if the proof is actually there, but you choose to believe that, right? So we came from nothing, we go to nothing, but somehow you value life while you're here, right?
We didn't come from nothing, but we value life.
Yeah, and we didn't. Yeah, I mean, nothing comes from nothing. I mean, the atoms that are in my body right now were here before.
For thousands of years too. Yeah.
And they'll be here after you're gone.
Yes, you bet.
But
will you be here?
Will I be here? No. When I'm gone, I'm gone.
There's no such thing as a soul or anything else. But what's stopping you from stealing that candy bar or whatever else, and you would have got away with it? You're saying that your chance of spending eternity in hell is going to stop you from stealing that candy bar. Is that what you're saying?
No, not really. I don't really believe so much in hell. I kind of agree with you as far as building a world, that's a better place for all of us. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I believe on the premise that we're all spiritual and we're going to return.
Oh, okay, but another thing
if we build a good world, it's because I'm going to come back later and live in this world.
But another thing I'd like to point out is,
so I really have self-interest in building this good world. I believe I've been here before, but you don't.
Oh, you're right. We don't believe in reincarnation. But part of the reason for Atheist Community of Austin is to get a break. You have a wrong perception of what atheists do. We're not selfish people. I don't know where you got that perception.
No, I'm just. Well, see, I've contemplated atheism, and I've contemplated no God, and I just, through my own personal reasoning, I have come to the conclusion that if I really believed in that to be consistent, I would just do whatever it would take to improve my own self in this world, this one world, regardless of anybody else. And to me, that was being consistent with my beliefs. And to me, if we all felt that way, we would need a police state to keep the peace and order, because I think people would naturally step on each other if they could get away with it, if they felt they could. And I think if everybody felt that there was no consequence, that other people really had no real value, as far as a human being, and I really don't think human rights is consistent with atheism, but y'all seem to have found a bridge.
Thank you. We're definitely trying to do that. And we have a bunch of other callers online. I do appreciate you calling.
David.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You have a good one. You had a comment, though? You want
No, I was just going to say we have other callers.
Oh, I hit the wrong button, too. But, I had a comment, now I lost it on my head. We got Dustin here coming down the line. Dustin?
Yes, I would just like to say, you have a good show going on.
Thank you.
But I am a Christian, and I was pretty much raised atheist. But what made me become a Christian was that the power of the Holy Ghost. A lot of things in the Bible, like you say, there are contradictions, and myself can't even prove them.
Right.
But till I felt the spirit of, the Holy Ghost, Jesus Christ, is what made me become a Christian, and did a lot of things in my life.
Well, we respect your beliefs, but I want to ask you, since we got a Christian on here, how do you feel about freedom of religion? Do you think that you and I both have the same rights to our beliefs and to be free of? Should we have prayer in schools? Should Texas be a Christian state? What do you think?
I personally think we should, because it actually bases a better life for. I've grown up in school, and I've seen kids that grew up in church, and some of them were real bad, but the majority of them grew up with good morals and good honesty things. But I don't think it should be forced upon. I think you should have the right on what you would like to do. Whether this child wants to pray or this child doesn't, I don't believe it should be forced upon them.
Well, that's what prayer in school is.
Organized,
you do it over the loudspeakers. Mm-hmm. You include everybody.
That involves coercion too.
Yeah.
And you brought up several things I wanted to bring. We're all the other side of the boat. We were baptized and everything else, and now we're atheists. You were an atheist that turned religious there, and
I'm curious about that.
Yes, that brings up a whole new topic there. And you had atheist parents? Is that what you're saying?
Well, not really. My mother, she was raised Mormon, and my father, he's really kind of always been on the edge where he was one, for a few years he seemed like he was an atheist, and then he would kind of sort of believe, but he'd always, always never really believed in God and always believed in science. And my sister and my brother-in-law who are sitting beside me are atheists. They're not really strong atheists, but, they're pretty much atheists.
So you were saying that the Holy Spirit took you there or whatever. So do you have any other, is the only proof that you have of a God is your personal experience on this Holy Spirit here?
Well, yes, basically, because, you read the Bible and you see a lot of things, and the majority of people who live in church are hypocrites. I've been going to church for almost a year and a half now, and the majority of people in church are hypocrites, but
What church do you go to?
I go to one of the largest Pentecostal churches in Austin. It is the largest
World
Pentecostal
of
church.
Pentecost, I bet.
Yes.
Why would you go there if you're saying that most people there are hypocrites?
Because it's a family, it's friends, it's positive friends. I come from a bad background, and used to do a lot of bad things. But
wait a minute. We're trying to reconcile something. What is your definition of a hypocrite, and what is your definition of friend?
Of a nice hypocrite, yeah.
I think personal intellectual integrity is extremely violated whenever you walk into church. And
what I mean by hypocrite is it's almost impossible to live by the Bible. All right, it's almost impossible.
Self-contradictory, in a way, you're right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But you want this to be used as a moral guide in our schools.
As organized as it has been, too.
Well, yeah, but it's a lot better than your average kids who, don't have any kind of lead. Only kind of the positive thing for them to do on the weekend is go out and get high and get drunk and hang out with their friends.
Well, I've known plenty of Christians who led the way in that area.
Well, yeah, you're right, too. So do I.
I really think that as a moral guide, though, it's pretty much bankrupt. We've looked at history, and we've discovered that a very, very large portion, in fact, a large majority of the major wars that have taken place throughout history and the major persecution situations, religion has been at the core at many of those situations.
Well, every war that is going on presently is all involved in religious conflict.
All of them?
Every war going on right now is based on religious conflict.
Yeah.
And on our call-in here, it says Dustin and Dan.
Yeah, my Adam, my brother-in-law, he'd like to ask him. He is an atheist.
Okay,
yes.
Oh, we'd love to hear from him then.
Thank you.
How y'all doing today?
Hi, Adam.
Hi.
I was just wondering, y'all brought up that amendment and about the prayer in school.
Right.
And I was wondering if y'all have heard anything about trying to throw out the evolution teaching in school.
It's going on all over the country.
There's several, yes.
Yeah, I've for a while, all I could pick up was name radio station, which was a Christian radio station. And, I still get interested listening to that side also.
Yeah.
But they were bringing up, and I didn't know if they were trying to push that along with that amendment.
Now, they're two different things.
Yeah, right, but the movement in schools to keep to either teach creationism or not teach evolution is very widespread. It's grassroots. It's organized. It's and for the most part, it's quite successful. There is a severe lack of teaching of evolution, and you go, well, evolution. Why does that really matter? Evolution is really kind of a core. It's kind of a foundation for a lot of things that biology builds upon. So if you want people to have an understanding of sciences, you need to teach them the truth. And if people want to believe something else, that's fine. But the fossils and the way the families are constructed and everything. And I'm not a scientist, but they tell me that it is really critical if you want to go on and learn more about science. You need to have a good basis.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah, sure. Go right ahead. And caller, I'm going to go ahead and release you there because we got others online. But Kellen's got a point here.
Thanks.
Take care. Go ahead, Kellen.
Yeah, I think a good understanding of evolution is also important when you're trying to understand things like the staph infection, the strep infection that's going around.
That's mutating daily.
Yeah, the antibiotic resist or the medication resistant tuberculosis that's now circulating that they don't have medication for, and the antibacterial hand soaps that are going around, understanding the implications of using those as if they're common soap. I think you have to understand evolution to be able to appreciate that.
Good point. And I do appreciate your contribution there. We have Tony here on the line.
Again. Okay, there are a couple of points.
We had other callers.
Okay, there are a couple of points that that we're going through. Okay, everybody keeps trying to equate atheism with not having any morals. Okay, just because you don't have a God doesn't mean you don't have any morals. We all have to deal with each other on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to bring up the defense of the self now. I keep hearing this word selfishness talked about like it's bad. Okay, all I truly know in this life is me. It's all I truly ever will know. I can't jump inside someone else's head and see life through their eyes. There's a very good book by Leonard Peikoff called Ominous Parallels. It's about philosophy, basically, okay? And modern philosophical thought, there are two basic schools of thought, Platonism versus Aristotelianism. Plato taught mysticism. He taught that there is an outside force that is greater. It's unattainable and unnameable, therefore we'll never be able to manipulate it. We're the shadows on the wall from the fire. Aristotle taught logic and reason, the scientific method. You base your observations on fact and reality, and the ego and the self, because all we have are our senses to define what's going on around us, and we have communication to be able to relate that with each other. And unless we as intelligent beings can come together on definitions and what words actually mean, then we're just talking words that don't mean anything.
You're absolutely right. And we run into that all the time. We run into the semantics of what the word belief means and everything else.
Exactly. And all of religion, I don't care if it's Christianity, whether it's Satanism, whether it's Dianetics, whatever it is, it's based on a mystic concept. It's not real. It's a fantasy. Okay, and the last thing I know, I'll let you go and get somebody else on telephone. Church as a social group, okay? Everybody thinks that the guy talking about baptism of fire, I was saved when I was 5 years old, okay? I was washed up in mass hysteria. Sure, I thought I had been moved by the Holy Ghost. That's because I was in a group of a whole bunch of people who were dancing and singing and speaking in tongues and flopping around on the floor. Sure, I thought something was moving through the crowd. But I'm 33 years old now, and I can look back on that and say, hey, that was just a case of the emperor's new clothes, okay? Now, just because you get a warm tingly filling up your spine don't mean God is moving on you.
Exactly.
If God has a whole universe to take care of, why am I so important to his daily scheme of things, you know? Why is he going to focus all his attention on me? Besides, I don't believe that there is something out there like that, but now I'll let you go. And
well, I appreciate your point.
Preaching to the
choir.
Yes, but you saying some great things. Thank you.
Very much. And,
so if I can make a comment on
Arlo, our sound guy.
Selfishness keeps being brought up, and people pointed to atheists saying we're good only because we're selfish. But how is it possible to say a Christian is not selfish to want an eternity in heaven?
Yeah, good, excellent.
How is that not selfish?
Or he wants the whole universe to be made just for his,
And non-Christians have to go to their hell.
Yes. Excellent point, Arlo. And we have Alan on the line.
How are you doing, guys?
Good
morning, Alan.
Boy, the last callers have been just extraordinary, just excellent. I have a few comments. One, if the Christian view of heaven is that we're all at the foot of Jesus and all happy forever, what kind of hell is that? I mean, if you think about it, human beings, Robert Browning said man's reach should exceed grasp for what's heaven for. When I'm up in heaven, exactly what am I going to be doing there? And for how long? And gee, where's this heaven place anyway?
Excellent point. The living is the day-to-day strife that you go through. If it's not there, what kind of life is that?
Kind of reminds me of the Indian myth or whatever about the world resting on the back of the turtle, and somebody asked, well, what's the turtle resting on? And it kind of goes, well, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
You don't ask too many questions about that.
But Joe's going to, you had a point I was going to make? I'm sorry.
I think so.
I have one other thing also. I had a really fascinating observation. Last Sunday, I took my family out to breakfast, and we went to Vitae House, actually, in the Arboretum, and it was just a church had let out. So we were there, and the place was packed, and it was packed with young people, young adults dressed in dark clothing, all gathering around, talking, having fun. But the observation was that these were young adults, young couples, all from one of the local huge mega churches, and they were there to socialize. And not only that, judging by their clothing and what they were talking about business. And the observation was, so this is how Texas society must work. Sunday you go to pray, and then afterwards you go do business, right?
Yeah.
And this was all about getting in with the right crowd, the right status, the right clothing, the right cars, the right makeup, the right jewelry, and the right sort of attitudes with God, but it didn't have anything to do with God. And so that was just a key insight, like, oh, now I get it.
We have discussed that before, how there's other things going on in church besides just the worship or whatever.
Yes.
It is a social framework.
Yes.
And part of what atheism has been missing is there is no social framework, and that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Is we socialize with one another, and it works out real good for us.
Good.
We don't do a whole lot of business, and we don't worry about dressing up a whole lot or anything like that. But we laugh at the same jokes. We have fun together.
Yeah.
And the third thing, and then I'll hurry up, is so how does this all-powerful God who is able to work individual miracles in each of us, how does this all-powerful God guy, how does he allow Bosnia, World War II, how does he allow murder, rape, violence, and crime? You can't have it both ways.
It's like the turtle.
Yeah.
How does that work?
About that too much.
Take care.
I do appreciate your call. Have a good day now. Oh, I hit the wrong button. And we have a quote from Arlo coming. Are you ready, Arlo?
I'm sorry, I wasn't ready for that. I'm not really familiar with the quote. I didn't know they were going to throw that one on me.
I'm sorry.
Throw that on you.
Heaven for climate, hell for company.
Yes.
It's a whole Mark Twain story behind it.
Oh, okay. And I do appreciate your contribution. Go ahead.
I remember what I was going to say, is that if you're Catholic, and several other religions also feel this way, that heaven does not allow dogs and cats. So if you're an animal lover or any other non-humans, they're not allowed. Also beer and apparently gambling and sex. Sex is right out of heaven. So where is heaven by definition, and how fun is hell if heaven is like that?
Yeah.
I'd really rather be in hell with the friends that I have grown up with and live with. And how can people in heaven really truly be in heaven by definition, knowing that their friends and family are burning forever? That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, and looks like we might take one more call here. And we're on here every morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is Channel 16 of Atheist Experience. And we'll take one last call here. Rob, make it quick.
Hey, Rob. This is Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Well, just when it clicked over, I saw that the broadcast went off. So I got some rock group on the TV access channel now.
Oh, we're off the air?
Yeah, you're off the air.
What?
Oh, okay.
Oh well.
We got 4 minutes. 3 minutes?
I tried. Hey,
Well, go ahead with your comment. We still think we're on the air.
Are you guys all from Austin?
Yeah,
Yes.
I do live here now. Yes.
Oh, you do live here now? Are you guys all native Austinites?
No, I'm not.
No. Is this organization? Is it called the Atheist Connection or?
No, community. Atheist Community of Austin.
I see. Is it? How many as in numbers do you think it is?
Well, we actually have over 200 on the mailing list, but we have a core group of about 30 or 40 that show up on a regular basis. That really take care of everything.
Oh, I see.
But we're still we're gonna have to cut you off here because we are running out of time.
Okay.
We do appreciate your call.
Okay.
Call again next week.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rob.
The monitor in the lobby will tell us. If somebody can go look at the monitor in the lobby. Anyway, we're almost out of time anyway.
Well, we are running out of time here, so we're going to wind everything down here. We do appreciate all our help out and on the cameras and the floor and all that. Vic, Jim, Keith, Kellen's in the control booth.